no problem. The first, uh, the first alternative to all that chaotic system was proposed by Joseph Lancaster, who was a British educator, and proposed the Lancaster method. His method, which was based on the use of the monitor. Was a student where adolescents or young adults that would teach young small groups under the supervision of a supervisor. That was an education specialist. The monitors were supposed to evaluate, they were assigned all the functions of a teacher. And the problem was that not all monitors had the same level or had the same background knowledge. So when Lancaster realized that, he had to create a school for monitors that was created in 1798. The problem was that when people realized that the usefulness of the monitor program, they started to copy it, and many informal teacher training facilities popped up. And there was another problem because there was a struggle between the state and the church, because the church was the one that owned many of those informal teacher training facilities. So the state passed an act to force the church to hand in all those facilities, and in 1838 Parliament passed an act that created the normal schools and assigned the first official budget to the building of teacher training facilities. In the following decades, the number of students increased, especially through all the technological advances that United Kingdom went through at the time. And apart from the last Lancaster school, one of the most important teacher training centers was the K. Shuttleworth Center that provided the system of national education with what is now called the boarding school, where students go and stay like internship. Yes. There, in those boarding schools, all aspects of everyday life were supposed to make teachers. Everything was supposed to be an integral part of the education of future teachers. For example, there, the students who will become teachers could use their own teaching materials and even try to create new teaching methods. Some of them succeeded and most of them they didn't. But anyway. And the curriculum they had was memorization of religion, English grammar, literature, history, geography, and mathematics. But it was basically memorization. In the second half of the 19th century, these boarding schools started to receive Queen scholars, who were, let's say, star students, and students who were subsidized to attend residential training college. So there were, above the average students, and the normal colleges had to adapt their existing systems and training courses to cope with these more competent students. And one of the most significant changes that this caused was the implementation of a probationary year. It was a year in which the students, after the students finished their course of studies, they had to put everything that they had learned into practice. So it was like similar to our residency. It was a whole year in which they were, imagine 1 year, full year of residency. But in spite of all these changes, a Royal Commission said that this wasn't enough, and they had to passed an act to the Elementary Education Act of 1870 to attempt to regularize, to organize this system a bit better. For example, they divided the country into districts so that each section of the country would receive the same quality of teachers. So to decentralize London and the most important cities. Also, this act was meant to ensure the education of children from 5 to 3 years old, of course, meaning that the student population was growing, so the teacher population had to grow in response. A fun fact was that the children were evaluated in the 3 hours, and the teachers were paid according to their students' grades. So the better the yeah, we felt the same. Since this act meant that many more teachers were needed, and a Council of Education had to take drastic measures, such as letting people get a degree without having finished the course, and that was a problem. But at the time, they had to do something, and it worked because the number of certified teachers rose from 12,000 to more than 35,000 in more than 5 years. So, yeah, they could solve the problem, partially, of course. Well, then the problem is that, as we could imagine, that unqualified teachers were teachers, so the courses were not very good, and most of the students were not getting good results at school. So in 1902, there was another education act called the Balfour Act, which proposed the creation of local education authorities, which were given the power to, they could create secondary schools. They had the power to, virtually they had to change to improve the educational system however they could. The good thing was that these authorities were locally elected, so everybody knew who was the authority, and the authority knew the needs of the people he or she was in charge. And then so one of the proposals that the whole body of educational authorities made was another standardization of the teacher training course. And they proposed that the students who would become teachers had to pass examinations proposed by the authorities in reading, recitation, English grammar, history, geography, arithmetics, algebra, needlework for girls, and Euclid for boys. And of course, another probationary year in which they would test their skills as teachers. Many of those, at the time, we are like in the first years of the 20th century, and we have many parallel systems going on. Most of these systems virtually disappeared with the Great War, since most male teachers had to enroll in the war, fight through the army. To solve the shortage of teachers,